Hello, night traveler. This is Lunas, your dream storyteller from Magical Nights. Wrap yourself in your blanket and let your imagination flow freely as we venture into the enchanted paths of magical and fantastic tales. Tonight, we will journey into an enchanted kingdom where peace is shattered when Aoife, the jealous stepmother, transforms the children of Lyre into swans. Dive into the saga of Fionnuala and her brothers as they search for a sacred relic and face mystical creatures to break the curse. Ready to dream? In an enchanted land where mists covered the valleys and rivers whispered ancient secrets, lived the noble Lyre, a respected and beloved lord. Lyre had 4 children, Fionnuala, Aud, Con, and Fiachra, who were the light of his life. His wife, the sweet Aoife, had passed away many years ago, leaving a void that he never managed to fill completely. Despite the pain, Lyre dedicated all his love and care to his children, ensuring they grew up strong and happy. Life in Lyre's kingdom followed a serene routine. Fionnuala, the eldest, was known for her wisdom and beauty. Aud, Con, and Fiachra were brave youths, always ready for adventures and mischief. Together, the siblings formed an inseparable quartet, exploring the forests and lakes surrounding their home, discovering the magic that permeated every corner of their land. However, the tranquility of the kingdom was disturbed when Lyre decided to remarry, hoping to bring joy back to his home. The chosen one was Aoife, the sister of his deceased wife, a woman of stunning beauty but whose heart hid shadows of jealousy and bitterness. Aoife could not bear the love Lyre had for his children, seeing in them a constant reminder of the beloved Aoife. Aoife, in her growing envy, began to plan a way to separate the children from Lyre. Her smile was sweet and her words kind, but behind every gesture was a desire for revenge. Lyre, blinded by love and the need to rebuild his family, did not notice the dark intentions of his new wife. Fionnuala, being the eldest and most perceptive, began to notice the change in Aoife's behavior. She saw the cold looks and felt the tension in the air, but her attempts to alert her brothers were met with disbelief. They could not imagine that the stepmother, who seemed so dedicated, could harbor such dark feelings. Fionnuala's silent hope was that time would reveal the truth about Aoife and that her father would realize the mistake he had made. She found comfort in the moments spent with her brothers, strengthening the bonds between them and promising to protect them at any cost. The tension in the air grew daily, but life continued its course in Lyre's kingdom. The children continued their adventures, now always on guard, wary of what the stepmother might scheme. At night, as they retired, they prayed for happiness and peace to return to their home, unaware that a cruel fate awaited them. Fionnuala, lying in her bed, stared at the ceiling of her room, reflecting on the changes in her life. Her thoughts were a mix of fear and determination. She knew she needed to be vigilant and that her role as the eldest sister was crucial. The hope she held in her heart was what kept her going, believing that one day, justice would prevail. The children of Lyre, innocent and brave, were about to face a challenge that would change their lives forever, as the specter of jealousy and betrayal loomed over them like an inevitable shadow. Days passed, and Aoife, unable to bear the love and attention Lyre dedicated to his children, decided it was time to act. One morning, with a gentle yet treacherous smile, she invited the children for a walk by the lakes. Fionnuala, always suspicious, hesitated, but her brothers, excited by the prospect of an adventure, convinced her to go. They set off at dawn, with the mist still covering the fields and the fresh air carrying the scent of wildflowers. Aoife led the way, her eyes gleaming with a hidden purpose. The children followed her, laughing and chatting, oblivious to the dark fate that awaited them. Upon reaching Lake Darvra, Aoife suggested they rest by the water. Fionnuala felt a chill run down her spine, but before she could react, Aoife stood up and, with a look of pure hatred, began to chant a spell. Ancient and powerful words flowed from her lips, and a cloud of darkness enveloped the siblings. Fionnuala tried to reach her brothers, but it was too late. She felt her body change, her hands turning into wings, and her voice becoming a sad song. Looking around, she saw that Aud, Con, and Fiachra had also been transformed. They were no longer human children but majestic swans, condemned to live in this form for an indeterminate time. Despair and frustration overcame Fiamwala. She tried to speak, but only a melodic and melancholic sound came from her beak. Aoife, satisfied with her deed, looked at the swans with a triumphant smile. "Now you will know the pain I felt seeing Liar's love for you," she declared before leaving, abandoning the siblings by the lake. Fiamwala, determined to protect her brothers even in swan form, tried to comfort them. "We must stay together," she thought, "and one day, we will find a way to break this curse." The initial despair began to give way to fierce determination. They were not defeated, merely starting a new and difficult journey. Every day, the siblings faced new challenges. Life as swans was hard and lonely. They had to learn to fly, find food, and protect themselves from the dangers of the lake and surrounding forests. But, united by brotherly love, they adapted and found strength in each other. One night, while the four swans rested on the lake's shores, Fiamwala had a dream. In it, her mother Awib appeared, surrounded by a gentle light. "My dear daughter, Aoife's curse will not last forever. You must be patient and keep hope. There will be a day when justice will prevail, and you will return to human form," said Awib with a tender voice. Upon waking, Fiamwala told her dream to her brothers. They felt a renewed sense of hope and determination. They knew the journey would be long and difficult, but now they had a goal: to survive until the curse was broken. Every dawn, the children of Liar faced their new world with courage and resilience. And although transformed into swans, they kept the essence of who they were, a family united by love and the hope of one day reuniting with their father and reclaiming their lives. Meanwhile, Liar, in his castle, began to feel the absence of his children. The silence and loneliness became unbearable. He set out to find answers, driven by the pain and love he felt for his children, unaware of the trials they were enduring. The swan siblings grew accustomed to their new lives, but the longing for their father and the hope of breaking the curse never left them. The seasons passed, bringing challenges of weather and predators. However, with every hardship overcome, the bonds between the siblings grew stronger, and the promise of returning to their human form kept them steadfast. One morning, while swimming in Lake Darvra, they heard human voices in the distance. Curious, the siblings discreetly approached the shore, where a group of men and women had set up camp. Among them stood a noble-looking man in rich garments, with a worried expression. Fiamwala recognized her father, Liar, who had not rested in his search for his missing children. Fiamwala's heart raced. She tried to get her father's attention, but all she could manage was the sad song of swans. Liar, however, seemed drawn to the melancholic sound. He approached the shore and observed the swans closely. Something in the eyes of the largest bird, Fiamwala, seemed strangely familiar to him, but he couldn't decipher why. As Liar contemplated the swans, one of his group members, a druid named Senan, approached. Senan had the power of vision and could interpret signs from nature. He noticed the connection between Liar and the swans and began chanting ancient spells, invoking the spirits of nature. Suddenly, a gentle light enveloped the swans, and for a brief moment, their human forms were outlined in the water. Liar saw his children, now grown and transformed, and fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face. He finally understood that the swans were his children, victims of a terrible curse. Senan, realizing the depth of the spell, explained that Aoife's curse was powerful and could only be broken by an act of true love and sacrifice. Liar, determined to save his children, vowed to find a way to undo the enchantment. The siblings, now with renewed hope, followed their father and his group. Every night, as the group rested, Liar would talk to the swans, sharing stories and his pain and longing. Though unable to respond with words, the siblings felt comforted by their father's presence and the promise of liberation. During this journey, Liar and Senan discovered an ancient prophecy about breaking powerful curses. They needed to find a sacred relic, the heart of Ariu, hidden in a cave protected by ancient guardians. This relic had the power to break any spell, but the path to it was filled with dangers and traps. With renewed determination, Liar, Senan, and the Swan siblings set out to find the relic. Each step tested their courage and unity. The forests were dense and treacherous, and the cave where the relic was hidden was guarded by mythical creatures that would not allow just anyone to enter. Upon reaching the cave entrance, Senan explained that only love and purity of heart could open the way. Lyre, with a heart full of love for his children, approached the entrance and recited words of love and sacrifice. The cave responded, slowly opening to reveal a path illuminated by glowing crystals. Inside the cave, they found the heart of Ariu, a pulsating jewel of light. When Lyre touched the relic, a wave of energy swept through the place, and the Swan siblings were enveloped in an intense light. Their forms began to change, and one by one, Fiamwala, Odd, Khan, and Fiacra returned to their human forms. The emotion of the reunion was overwhelming. Lyre embraced his children, tears of joy streaming down his face. The siblings, now human again, felt the strength of the love and determination that had sustained them through all the years of suffering. But the story did not end there. The relic had revealed another secret. Aoife, the cruel stepmother, was now vulnerable at the mercy of the spirits of nature she had so despised. Justice was about to be served, and the peace Lyre and his children longed for was finally within reach. With the sacred relic in hand, Lyre and his children returned to the kingdom, where news of their return quickly spread. The villagers, who had always missed the vibrant presence of Lyre's children, celebrated their return. However, the joy was mixed with a sense of justice that still needed to be served. Aoife, now aware that her curse had been broken, was consumed with fear. The spirits of nature, once her allies in her malicious intent, now pursued her, exposing her true nature to the kingdom. She knew there was nowhere left to hide. Determined to bring justice, Lyre convened a council in the castle's great hall. Everyone was present, from the humblest villagers to the nobility. Aoife was brought before them, and the silence in the hall was palpable as Lyre stood to speak. "My dear subjects," Lyre began, his voice filled with emotion, "today we are here to correct a great injustice. My wife, Aoife, out of jealousy and cruelty, cast a curse upon my children, transforming them into swans and condemning them to years of suffering. Today, with the help of the gods and the sacred relic, my children have been freed from this curse." Murmurs filled the hall as Lyre continued. "Aoife, you betrayed not only me but also the memory of your own sister, Awib. Your thirst for revenge brought pain and suffering to us all. Now, you must face the consequences of your actions." Aoife, trembling, tried to justify her actions, but her voice was weak and faltering. I just wanted to be loved, to be important." Her words died as she met the determined eyes of Fiamwala. Fiamwala stepped forward. "You could have found love and importance in many other ways, Aoife. Instead, you chose the path of darkness. But we, the children of Lyre, do not carry hatred in our hearts. We seek justice, not vengeance." Senan, the druid, then spoke. "The spirits of nature have their own forms of justice. Aoife will be taken to the ancient grove, where she will face a fair trial. Her soul will be weighed, and her fate decided by the ancient powers." With these words, Aoife was taken by the guards, her face pale and eyes filled with fear. The council concluded, and the kingdom began to heal from the wounds left by Aoife's betrayal. Lyre, his children, and Senan made their way to the grove, where Aoife's judgment ceremony would be held. The spirits of nature, invisible to most, made their presence known in subtle ways: the rustling of leaves, the gentle glow in the stream's waters, the whispering wind among the trees. Aoife was placed before an ancient stone altar, where Senan began the ritual. The spirits were summoned, and the atmosphere became charged with mystical energy. Gradually, visions of the years of betrayal and suffering caused by Aoife were revealed to all present. When the ritual ended, the sentence was pronounced. Aoife would be transformed into a creature reflecting her soul, a black crow, condemned to fly the skies without ever finding rest. This transformation would be her punishment and redemption, an eternal reminder that love and justice always prevail over hatred and revenge. The transformation took place before everyone, and Aoife, now a crow, let out a sharp cry before flying away. The ensuing silence was broken by the gentle sound of the wind in the trees, as if nature itself was sighing in relief. Liar and his children returned to the castle, where they were greeted with hugs and tears of joy. The relief and gratitude filled the air, and the villagers celebrated the return of peace to the kingdom. Fionnuala, Odd, Khan, and Fiachra were finally free to live their lives as they always should have. They approached their father, embracing him with love and promising that together they would rebuild what had been destroyed. Liar, with tears in his eyes, thanked the gods and spirits for returning his children. The kingdom prospered, and the stories of Liar's children, their courage and resilience became legends passed down from generation to generation. And so, a chapter of pain and suffering was closed, giving way to a new era of love, gratitude, and hope. With the kingdom at peace, Liar's children began to resume their lives. However, the impact of their transformation and the years spent as swans left deep marks, both physical and emotional. Each of them needed to find a path to healing and moving forward. Fionnuala, with her wisdom and strength, took on a leadership role, helping her father govern and ensuring the kingdom flourished. Odd, Khan, and Fiachra dedicated themselves to rebuilding their skills and finding their places in the world while also supporting their sister and father. One day, while exploring a forest near the kingdom, the siblings found a hidden cave. Inside, ancient inscriptions seemed to tell a story similar to theirs, but with an additional detail. It mentioned a lost amulet that could bring eternal peace and protection to those who possessed it. Curious and hopeful, the siblings decided to search for the amulet. They embarked on a new journey that led them to distant and dangerous lands. Each step brought new challenges, but they also discovered more about themselves and the world around them. After weeks of travel, they reached an ancient temple hidden in the mountains. At the temple's center, on a stone pedestal, they found the amulet, a shining jewel radiating a warm and welcoming light. When they touched the amulet, they felt a wave of healing energy that seemed to soothe all the pains and scars left by the curse. However, as they tried to take the amulet, a spiritual guardian appeared, explaining that the amulet could only be taken by those who proved their purity of heart. The siblings, determined, shared their stories, sufferings, and hopes, showing that despite the adversities, they kept their hearts pure and full of love. Convinced of their sincerity, the guardian allowed them to take the amulet. With it, they returned to the kingdom, where the amulet's presence brought lasting peace and magical protection against any evil that might threaten their home. The discovery of the amulet and the journey to find it not only strengthened the bonds between the siblings but also renewed the kingdom's faith in the benevolent magic surrounding them. Now, with the amulet in their possession, Liar and his children knew they could face any future challenge with courage and unity. And so, the story of Liar's children continued to unfold, showing that even in the darkest situations, the light of love and hope always finds a way to shine. With peace restored and the amulet bringing security to the kingdom, Liar's children dedicated themselves to their new lives. But despite the apparent tranquility, a new threat loomed in the shadows. Aoife, now transformed into a crow, continued to harbor her resentment. Though defeated, her vengeful spirit had not yet found rest. One night, while the siblings were gathered around the fire, Fionnuala had a foreboding feeling. She dreamt of a hooded figure bringing destruction to the kingdom. Upon waking, she shared her dream with her brothers and father. Senan, the druid, was called to interpret the dream. He revealed that Aoife, in her crow form, had allied with dark forces to regain her power. Senan advised that to protect the kingdom, Liar's children needed to undergo a test of courage that would test their unity and determination. The test involved recovering a lost relic, the Sword of Nuada, hidden on a distant island and protected by an ancient guardian. Determined to protect their home, Fionnuala, Odd, Khan, and Fiachra set out on a new journey. The journey to the island was perilous and full of obstacles. They faced fierce storms and hostile sea creatures. Each challenge required them to work together, relying on their skills and mutual trust. Upon reaching the island, they found a dense and foggy forest. At the heart of this forest, they found the guardian of the Sword of Nuada, an ancient warrior named Kerbre. Kerbre was willing to give up the sword only to those who demonstrated true bravery and purity of heart. He proposed a test. The siblings had to traverse the forest of shadows, where they would face their deepest fears. Only by overcoming these fears could they reach the Sword of Nuada. Determined, the siblings entered the forest. Within the forest, each faced visions of their worst fears. Fiamwala saw herself alone, unable to protect her brothers. Odd faced the guilt of not being able to save his family. Khan and Fiacra confronted their doubts about their own strength and courage. But in every moment of despair, the siblings found strength in each other. Fiamwala, with her leadership and fraternal love, inspired courage in her brothers. Odd, with his bravery, showed that guilt did not define his worth. Khan and Fiacra, with their determination, proved they were stronger together. By uniting their strengths and overcoming their fears, the siblings emerged from the forest of shadows victorious. Kerbre, impressed by the siblings' courage and unity, gave them the Sword of Nuada. You have demonstrated the true value of heroes. Use this sword with wisdom and protection, he said before disappearing into the mist. The siblings returned to the kingdom with the sword, ready to face any threat that might arise. The test of courage had strengthened their bonds and renewed their determination. They knew that together, they could overcome any challenge. With the Sword of Nuada in hand, Lyre's children returned to the kingdom, where they were welcomed with celebrations and relief. The sword shone with ancient power, a symbol of hope and protection. However, they knew the battle against Aoife was not yet over. The stepmother, in her crow form, continued to scheme in the shadows, seeking a way to regain her power. As they prepared for the final confrontation, an unexpected visitor arrived at the castle. She was a tall and imposing woman, dressed in green and gold robes. Her eyes shone with ancient wisdom. She introduced herself as Bridget, an ancient goddess of healing and wisdom. Bridget explained that she had observed the journey of Lyre's children and was impressed with their courage and determination. She offered her help, proposing an alliance to face Aoife and the dark forces supporting her. Aoife cannot be defeated by force alone. Wisdom and compassion will be necessary to bring true justice, Bridget said. The siblings accepted the alliance with gratitude. Bridget taught them ancient enchantments and protection rituals, strengthening the power of the Sword of Nuada. She also brought with her an army of mystical beings, fairies, elves, and nature spirits, all willing to fight alongside Lyre's children. Bridget's and her allies' presence brought new hope to the kingdom. The siblings felt more prepared than ever to face Aoife. The mystical forces joined the kingdom's warriors, and together they formed a powerful alliance. The final confrontation was approaching, and the tension increased daily. Aoife, aware of the alliance formed against her, decided to act. She summoned all the dark forces at her command, preparing a devastating attack on Lyre's castle. On the night of the attack, the sky filled with dark clouds, and thunder rumbled in the distance. Aoife, in her crow form, led the dark army. The siblings, armed with the Sword of Nuada and protected by Bridget's enchantments, were ready for the confrontation. The ensuing battle was intense and brutal. The forces of good and evil clashed in an epic confrontation. Fiamwala led her siblings with skill and courage, while Bridget and her mystical allies used their abilities to protect the castle and its inhabitants. Aoife, in her relentless hatred, focused her wrath on Fiamwala, seeing her as the greatest threat. The two faced each other in a fierce duel, with the Sword of Nuada shining brightly in Fiamwala's hands. Each exchanged blow reverberated through the battlefield, and the forces of nature seemed to hold their breath. In the crucial moment, Fiamwala, remembering Bridget's words about wisdom and compassion, decided to act differently. Instead of destroying Aoife, she used the Sword of Nuada to channel healing energy. The sword glowed with an intense light and enveloped Aoife, purifying her dark heart. Aoife, now freed from the hatred that consumed her, fell to her knees, weeping. "Forgive me, Fiamwala. I was consumed by jealousy and resentment. "May the gods judge me for what I have done," she said, her voice full of remorse. Fialwala, with a heart full of compassion, responded, "True power lies not in revenge but in forgiveness. May you find peace and redemption, Aoife." With these words, the battle came to an end. The dark forces retreated, and peace finally returned to the kingdom. Aoife was taken into the custody of the nature spirits, who would guide her on her path to redemption. With Aoife's defeat and victory over the dark forces, peace reigned in Lyre's kingdom. However, the siblings knew there was one last challenge to face. The wounds left by Aoife's betrayal still needed complete healing, and the kingdom required a period of reconstruction and renewal. Senan, the druid, called a meeting with Lyre's children and Bridget. He explained that although Aoife had been defeated, a shadow of her curse still hung over the kingdom. The only way to dispel this shadow was to perform a purification ritual at the ancient temple of Danu, the mother goddess of the earth. The temple of Danu was located high in the Sleeve Bloom Mountains, a sacred place filled with ancient magic. To perform the ritual, the siblings would need to face dangers and challenges along the way, but they were determined to restore complete peace to their home. The journey to the temple of Danu was arduous. They climbed steep cliffs, crossed dense forests, and faced mystical creatures guarding the temple's secrets. Each challenge overcome further strengthened the bonds between the siblings and their allies. Upon reaching the temple, they were greeted by an ancient priestess, guardian of Danu's mysteries. She guided them to the temple's heart, where a sacred spring flowed with crystal clear, glowing waters. The priestess explained that to purify the kingdom, the siblings needed to offer their own life forces to the spring, symbolizing their love and sacrifice for the greater good. Fialwala, Aud, Khan, and Fiacra, holding hands, offered their energies to the sacred spring. The water began to glow intensely, and a wave of pure energy swept through the temple. Aoife's cursed shadow was dispelled, and a sense of renewal and hope filled the place. The priestess, moved, declared, "You have proven that love and unity can overcome any darkness. The kingdom is now purified, and Danu blesses you with her eternal protection." With hearts full of gratitude, the siblings returned to the kingdom, where they were greeted with joy and celebration. The news of the temple's purification and complete restoration of peace spread quickly, and the kingdom thrived like never before. After the temple's purification and Aoife's final defeat, Lyre's kingdom entered a period of prosperity and harmony. The presence of the Sword of Nuada and the sacred amulet ensured lasting protection and peace. Lyre's children, now adults and experienced, took on leadership roles in the kingdom, helping their father govern with wisdom and justice. Fialwala, with her wisdom and compassion, became a respected advisor, always seeking her people's well-being. Aud, Khan, and Fiacra dedicated themselves to strengthening the kingdom's defenses and building diplomatic relations with neighboring realms. The siblings' unity and determination inspired everyone around them. One day, Fialwala, Aud, Khan, and Fiacra gathered in the castle gardens, reflecting on their journey and the lessons learned. They remembered the hardships they faced and the victories they achieved, grateful for the love and support that always united them. Lyre, now aged but with a heart full of pride, joined his children. "You have brought honor and glory to our name. The love and courage you have shown are a legacy that will be remembered for generations," he said, tears in his eyes. Fialwala, with a gentle smile, replied, "Father, everything we did was inspired by the love you gave us. It was your strength and example that guided us every step of the way." The siblings spent the day reminiscing about their adventures and celebrating the unity that sustained them. At night, they gathered around a campfire, sharing stories and laughter, surrounded by friends and family. Bridget, the goddess who helped them so much, appeared one last time, bringing a final blessing. "You have proven that true power lies in love, unity, and compassion. May these virtues continue to guide your lives and protect your kingdom," she said before disappearing into the night's mist. Lyre's kingdom flourished, and the stories of Lyre's children became legends passed down from generation to generation. Their heroic deeds and lessons of love and courage inspired many other adventures and tales, perpetuating a legacy of hope and justice. And so, the touching and sad story of Liar's children, transformed into swans by a jealous stepmother, came to an end. An end marked by redemption, forgiveness, and the certainty that even in the darkest moments, love and unity always find a way to shine. Good night and enchanted dreams.